can you give us information about the preparations for the visit of Chinese Prime Minister Xi Jinping? President rather, Xi Jinping.
Thank you. Yes. The Philippines is preparing very hard for this historic meeting between the President of the Philippines and the President of China. It's actually his first visit as President of China to the Philippines. This visit is quite significant because it is a return visit of the state visit of the President 2 years ago, where President Duterte very wisely turned the policy of foreign policy of the Philippines towards ASEAN and Asia, and particularly to China. So, these face-to-face meetings are so important because they promote understanding and goodwill between the leaders, but also show a good example to their citizens that, the Philippines and China should cooperate more closely. And again, cooperation comes from understanding each other's positions very well. Yes, there are many agreements to be signed. They are presently being reviewed by the different departments and being coordinated by Secretary Locsin. And these agreements will be signed, or the notes will be exchanged in the presence of both presidents. Well, a number of agreements will be for the projects that China is financing in the Philippines, namely the Kaliwa Dam and the projects to study the various railways, both from Manila to Bicol, Clark to Subic, and the Mindanao Railway System. We are also going to sign, the Department of Finance is also going to sign an agreement with Bank of China for the launching of our second renminbi sometime in the first or second quarter of next year. Those are just examples. There are other agreements, but I don't have the list, ma'am. I believe that is part of the agreement that is being considered, and Secretary Kuzi is leading the effort in this area. Yes.
Talking about the existing projects that China has pledged to fund, or will there be new projects?
When they talk of Belt and Road, that encompasses all the projects already. And we have been quite open to mention which projects, which large projects we are planning to do with China. But basically, the Belt and Road Agreement is one where the Philippines will participate and support the efforts of China in creating infrastructure for their neighboring countries. Now, this infrastructure certainly will benefit both sides. It will improve the trade, it will be a facilitator for trade between China and their neighbors and among the neighbors. And of course, trade promotes economic development, and as the economies develop, China will have a larger market for their goods. And China also is opening their market. In fact, they had a very big expo recently. In fact, Ramon Lopez was there, where China has the first ever in history, not only for China but for any other country, where a country holds an expo to tell people what they want to buy, not to sell. So again, this is the concrete example of China's support for open trade.
Thank you so much, Secretary Sani Dominguez.
Yeah.
Yesterday lang, U.S. Vice President Mike Pence mentioned that agreements under the Belt and Road Initiative are opaque and could compromise sovereignty. What are your thoughts?
Well, we have reviewed the Belt and Road Agreement, and quite frankly, I don't think it's opaque. It's quite clear to me that this is a win-win-win situation for everybody. And as to compromising sovereignty, I don't see how that can be, because it is you enter it into it freely, and it's something that that is quite transparent. But again, with those remarks, we will certainly review it again, this Belt and Road Agreement. But essentially, from our point of view, it will not compromise our sovereignty, and it will be quite helpful to everybody.
Thank you so much, Secretary Sani
Thank you.
Dominguez. Thank you so much, friends from the Malacanang Press Corps, from the media. We have to head back to the APEC house. Thank you.
Qualification. Pero anong review na yun? Yung